Well, hi, good morning, and welcome to my shop. And yesterday I replaced the string on this radio. Today I'm going to work on the dial lights. But let's see if that string worked out. Here we go. I'm just going to turn the knob and see what happens. Here we go. Nothing that way. So it might take a little while for this to loosen up enough. Let's go back now. A little sticky up here. So, come to think of it, there's something else I noticed. I don't know if I actually mentioned this. I noticed earlier on that the capacitor was a funny angle here. You'd think it would be straight across, but it seems to be bent. And, I didn't look into this close enough earlier, and I should have. Because what has happened is it's actually just moved on its screws here. So I think I'm going to straighten it out because this angle is there's a chance the string will dismount here because of the angle. I really should straighten that out. Well, let's take a look at that. The lights will have to wait a minute. Two big screws. I can see what happened already. So here's the two locking down screws, and they both have rubber bushings underneath. There's another screw here, actually. Three of them. Excuse me. And I'm pretty sure the frame here is insulated or isolated from the chassis at this point. That's what those rubber pieces are in there for. And they just lost their rubberiness. Now, can I really lock this up in a different position? I don't know. Oh, these are loose. These are loose. Well, again, if the dimension of the rubber, if the rubber has lost its dimension, oh, it's as loose as can be. So these won't last much longer now. I've really cranked them down. Maybe in 10 years or so, these will give out. So I'm only going to offer an 8-year guarantee on this. So that will have tightened up the string a little bit. And maybe it's going to work a little better now. Maybe not. It feels harder to turn. It's my imagination. Something definitely gets a little stiff up here. So like I said, let's just keep working it. Now, what about the lights? So originally, this came with two lights. Two lights, and then a diffuser, the white paper here, which is folded, so it's actually two sheets of white paper. You really kind of wonder how much diffusing can happen from 2-point sources. These bulbs, they don't look original. It looks to me like somebody put incorrect bulbs in here and soldered them in place to get them to stay. That's what it looks like. The glass front of the bulb was pushing on the back of the paper. I'm sure it's not supposed to be that close. One thing I can do I plan to put LEDs in here in place of the light bulb. And I think you're going to need more than just two to have any effect. You need quite a few, actually. Oh. There's holes here for the light to go through. Oh, I didn't notice that earlier. They stick right in there. They get right past this metal baffle. So I was picturing putting a bunch of lights across it like this. It's not going to happen. And I was also planning just leaving all this here and then just electrically cutting it away, but I would just leave it there. Who cares? Well, now it's in the way of potentially putting LEDs in there. I'm going to put it. And the LEDs, I don't think are as bright as a light bulb. They put an LED on either side. You know what? There's a pretty big hole there. There's room to stick LEDs on either side. Stick one through this hole in the middle too, so I could do one on the outside, and one in the middle here. Put 3 in. Just a little. I could always ignore this plate too. I could do something else entirely. Probably better to stick with the plate. Okay. Yeah, there's just the 3 holes here. So I get one LED kind of shining this way, and one shining that way, and one shining in the middle. What about this? Can I really take these out? They look soldered. Oh, what did I just do? I did something here. Well, oh, I see what's going on. I thought I was unscrewing this white piece out of here, but I'm not. I'm just unscrewing this white piece out of the plastic fitting here. So what I'm thinking is, I don't know down the road that somebody won't, 30 years from now, get a hold of this radio and want to restore it perfectly new. And they'll want to get rid of the LEDs and go back to light bulbs. It's kind of a stupid thing for me to worry about, isn't it? So what I can do here, all my cutters, okay, mumble. I can do this. And I can do it again over here. Okay, now what have we got? Now we've got a nice little platform. You shove the LEDs through these holes. It goes this way normally. Can it be got in this way? I think you could probably fit that in backwards. Have the LED come through these 2 holes. Let me get some LEDs out here. My LEDs. Here they are. Oh, these are little tiny guys. Yeah, these won't produce enough light. Bigger LEDs. There's bigger ones. Okay, we could even consider some color, but I think that would be dumb to put color in it. I think white is what we need. Oh. things here. Just the size. 5 and 3. Why don't you take one of these guys, the bigger ones. Standard. This looks like a standard LED. Hey, that's not too bad. Yeah, the question is, would that project enough light to do anything on the back here? So I'm gonna have to mock this up, or at least get one light going, hold it there, and examine and sort of experiment with this, because maybe 3 lights is not enough. Maybe I need 5. Maybe I need 10. Wouldn't be. Yeah, that's impossible to do, Jim, because there's only these 3 holes here. So it's going to be 3. But you know, I could bundle these. I could put mount, 2 like this. Almost mount 3 in there, really. Well, that's quite a few things I need to do here. One is we'll do the mock-up with whoops, by applying a little bit of power to these and light them up, see what it looks like. That's what's next. Okay, well, I kind of blew it here on the first one because it's blue. I didn't look close enough. Let's try a white one here. Okay, now shine this in the back here without shorting it. Ooh. Oh. That's terrible. That's exactly what we don't want. See a brown dot right there? That's from the light bulb. We're cook the paper a little bit. No, that'll look just terrible if we go with just, because these lights, they're like headlights, Look at that. So I'd have to. See, it comes through. It would come just about like that. Oh, that's terrible. Can't have that. What if I shine it down the way here? I don't want to short this out on the metal frame. That's horrible. That's horrible. You have to put. You know what? There was a piece of masking tape right on the top of this LED. It's probably from me solving the same problem some time ago. So I put a little masking tape on there. Well, it helps a bit. You get a pattern here. You can't see it in the camera. Actually, this looks quite different in the camera. It looks much worse in the camera, in fact, than it is. Okay, that's enough experimenting. I'm going to have to think about this a little bit now. Try and decide what to do. Well, I have some more diffusing type material here. What happens if we just add some more in? Let me turn the light back on. Slide this here. And then we shine onto the back of this diffuser. Well, it's getting better, but what would happen if I had this diffuser right out front here, sort of in place of the paper? I think it's just gonna, you can't, like, through some miracle, distribute this light. Once it's striking the back of the diffuser, it is what it is. I have to do something right at the light bulb. It must be the case that the other light bulbs put 2 dots on here. And then, it's not just that, it's this too. It's this too. Hey, there's more to it than that. There's this and that. Let's check it out. Let's just, okay, maybe I've been. Maybe I've been perfectly right all along. So, you know, to make this even, I'd really need like a light all the way across. And how could that ever be achieved? Oh my gosh. Drill holes through this. Put the light in. There's a good chance there's all kinds of problems with doing that. Well, of course I can double up, triple up the diffuser sheet. I could, I'm wondering if I could replace this entirely or augment it with a piece of this going in there. How about this stuck right on the back of here, like that? Why can't you do that? The only place you're seeing the light, let's think about this, the only place you're getting the light through on this radio is through the slot there, the tuning dial slot. Is that right? Don't need to do it like this, do it like this. That's opaque. It's completely opaque, except in the slot. It's opaque, but in the slot. Really? Is that really the case? Well, it must be the case. I mean, well, it's probably. Oh yeah, it's completely opaque. Okay, so it's a matter of lighting up the slot. Just light up the slot. Light up the slot or diffuse the slot. Well, that would be easy. Just put some plastic over top of this. Okay, I got a number of possibilities here. Okay, I can try one of them right here. I can try the diffuser right on the back of this. Very easily. Just slide it down like that. Now, what does that do? Back of the light. Stick it in the hole. There. So we had one there, because there's one there, one here, one here. It's getting better, you know. Don't short it. So the light is kind of here. So I put two lights. They add in the middle, right? They add in the middle. So in this area, I think where that dot is. I think I got it. I think I need to put 5 lights in. 2 this way, and 1 in the middle. I could even do 2 in the middle, maybe. Let's go down the middle here. Because we're lighting all the way to above. You're just using my eyes. This might look completely different on the camera. But it's what we see with our eyes. It comes right here, yeah. So you know what? I put 3 in here. And they'll be fairly even through here. So the far hole comes to there. The other hole, just making sure this is balanced, comes to here. So it'll be pretty dark out in this area. How to get it lit up there. So there is a slot at the top, but it's a little tricky to put a light in. That actually looks better. What if I attach a light to the slider? What if I attached an LED right onto the slider? So wherever you tuned. That's an interesting idea. I don't like it particularly. Tricky to do too. Now, is there another hole out here on the wings that I missed? No. What about coming right around the ends? I can come right in around the end here somehow. Not really. Not really. Okay, looks like 5 lights. Looks like I would mount 5 lights on this thing. Aimed slightly differently. One in the middle. And this is not in the middle of this. Does seem to be. So I mean, if you're going to have some kind of pattern on here, you want it to be symmetrical anyway. Like so, light, light, light. You don't want 2 lights and 1 and nothing or something stupid like that. Okay, that's enough stuff in my head. I'm going to go away and ponder the whole deal for a bit. And then we're going to start building it. Okay, so I thought after thinking about it a bit more, rather than try to do something radical, I would try to just duplicate the original first and see what it looks like. I've mocked it up here with two lights in the back. The one on the right is blue, in fact. It's a blue one. So no glue involved or anything like that. Just getting a look at what this is going to look like. What will it look like? Well, first of all, I like the blue. I like the blue a lot better than the white. The blue is nice. So we're looking with my eye. You'd want light to get all the way down to here. There really isn't any down here. Likewise, you want light all the way up to here. Son of a gun, I don't know how to do that. I really don't know how to make that happen. The most I can do is diffuse this more and more to try to get it to cast out further, but it's going to be tough. Okay, it's getting clearer all the time what I should do. Now it's just a question of doing it. Let me take this out of here. No, I'll leave that there. Leave that there for now. Okay, another step. Okay, so what I've done is I've glued the LEDs on there. I've copped out and gone with 3. And I need a wire lead. Probably would be best if it came all the way back to the transformer here. That's probably the best thing to do. That's okay. Nice long wires. We'll go this way. Here, there, something like this. Lots of excess wire here. Now I think I really want to use just bare wire through here. So I'm going to want to strip off all that. What are the chances? Just nick it here. These are not my best cutters for this. Spent my day yesterday working on outdoor antennas. Well, one in particular. I have actually 4 outdoor antennas I can switch between. Kind of along the lines of random wires. They call them random dipoles. That's really one of them is actually a classic dipole, hung properly. Big fat cable going to it. And that's my go-to ham radio antenna. Bunch of others. What's holding it on? There. Okay, so that's one wire. what I found, I've been experimenting with antennas basically my entire life, and seldom have I put up a real proper standard antenna. Though I do have a standard dipole hanging in my backyard right now. Mostly they're kind of random wires, you use what you got. What I found is if you have one antenna, you really have no idea where you are in the scheme of things, because you have only one antenna. You can't compare it to anything. You get two antennas, and there's a lot of, don't know if it's really resonance, but antennas behave very differently. Random pieces of wire behave very differently, but it gives you a chance to compare the two. So what you do is you put two antennas up, get used to them. And then you can fool around with one and compare it to the other. And at that point, you can kind of get a feel for whether you're going forwards or backwards on things. And now I have 4 antennas. And what I've discovered some very interesting things. I'll tell you one of them. It's a little hard to, let me just grab a piece of paper here for a second. The only things you can see, I guess, if you have multiple antennas. I'm using an SDR radio. I was using an SDR radio. Let's just put this here for now. This will just take a second. So I'm looking at the spectrum display. You have the waterfall down here and the spectrum display up here on the SDR radio. And you have a certain amount of noise coming along. And then you have the signals going up like this. Whoops, that's terrible. Something like that. So that's what you're looking at. As I switch antennas, occasionally, the signals remain basically the same height. The noise goes down. It'll go down like this. Or worse yet, it'll come up like this. Sometimes it'll go right over the top of the signal. You can't even hear it anymore. Now, I know part of what I'm seeing on the screen here is kind of disturbed or upset by the automatic level control or gain control in the radio itself, and that's partially why the noise appears to be going up and down when the signal holds still. In fact, the signal has changed. It's the ratio of the noise and the signal and the radio's ability to keep the signal at one level, so instead the noise goes up and down. But I found that very interesting to listen to and flip through these antennas and watch this happen. But then again, I'm a kooky guy who likes radios. And you probably are too, if you're watching this video. So, the main purpose of all this is to have some fun in life. To have fun, a little bit of challenge, and, sense of success and all those kinds of things. Are part of doing anything you're doing. Okay, so I'm gonna. I want the insulation to end tight and the excess to be cut away. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna try and kind of like tie this on. So this will be the. I think this is the negative here. There. Should I wrap or tack? Let's see if we can wrap it. Wrap it pretty solid. I'll get better pliers here. There. Who would have thought I'd succeed with that? Now this last one. Oh, there's my better cutters. Oh. So a few videos ago, quite a few videos ago, I mentioned some websites that I'm keeping my eyes on to track the terrible sea thing that's chasing us all around the world. One of them was the IHME website. Turns out that website is the website that the Americans have been depending upon, and maybe some other countries too. Perhaps they have more models in the background, but publicly this is the only one that they talk about. It's out in the public because it's not a government website. Now, I think I also mentioned these are models, and models are not very predictive. They're predictive based on whatever you've told them, right? So they don't really necessarily make an accurate prediction. Well, it turns out this website is now in the news because people are beginning to question it. It's a rather optimistic view of things, which again is not because the people doing it are optimistic, it's because just simply the mathematics and the techniques they're using. Okay, now that's one side. I think I'm going to solder that in. I'm sure I heard my cat crying. Let me out. So once again, I suggest very much you track this site every day. Another really good site to look at is Worldometer, Worldometer. And lastly, I'm keeping my eye on a web page put up by an astronomer, I believe it is actually, who's done, obviously he's got a mathematical background. He's got a student helping him out with this. He's done a prediction all the way to next September, which again, just in the American case. So that guy's name is Dan Reichart, Riechart. If you search for that, you'll find his prediction. Again, it's not to say that the prediction will come true. It's that's the prediction today. And what happens down the road can cause the predictions to change a lot. It's a little like being in an airplane and you're taking off. And then you have a model of an airplane and you put in all those parameters. And then somebody says, oh my God, the way we're flying this airplane, we're going to be in space eventually. Well, no, you're not. You're going to fly up and you're going to level out. You're going to fly like... When you get level like this, the predictor will say, oh my God, you're never ever going to get to the ground again. Well, yes you are, because you're going to do this, So just, if you look at these models, take it all with a grain of salt, but be aware you are looking at the same information, at least the IHME website, that the American government is relying on. I think that's interesting in itself. The IHME website also predicts European countries. And let me tell you, what it's trying to do, it's trying to be very helpful to the medical industry around the world by helping understanding what the demands are potentially on them. And their interest is not going to be so much the demand 6 months from now, but more the demand next week. And the model might be extremely useful for that. I don't know, because there's another side to this whole thing, and that is supply. So you have a demand for, let's say, ventilators, and you have a existing supply, among the hospitals in your country. Anybody have any idea what that number might be? The way they arrive at these numbers is basically through estimations. Nobody knows. Nobody has a count. So their estimations are made. There's a lot of looseness in all this stuff. So, one of the problems with numbers is they look pretty certain, but they aren't. So there is an error on this IHME website. There is an error shown, and I'm just going to show you that I really don't understand what they're doing. And these are, really good statisticians and whatnot. This is their profession, is dealing with medical information. So who am I to question it? But they have their chart, okay, and then they have a solid line showing what has actually happened. Then they have a dotted line showing what they think will happen going forward. And this line is their prediction line. So they have an error on it. Now, to me, And I've drawn this so it's going to be hard to show the error. To me, the error would be smallest here, because this is today, and you're predicting tomorrow, and the error would be smallest. And as you go forward in time, the error would get bigger and bigger. Again, because of the way I drew this, let me just change this curved line so I can show you what I mean, just to be absolutely sure. So let's suppose the prediction is a straight line. And here's the solid one here. Let's suppose something like that. So I would think the error would look like this, would look something like this. Maybe higher, maybe lower. And as you get further away, 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, a month, your knowledge about this line becomes very error prone. But on this website, this curve is the other way. It goes like this. And it comes up from below. As if tomorrow they're not sure at all what's going to happen, but they know absolutely what's going to happen a month from now. So I don't understand that. This is a pink color. You can look at this website and wonder it yourself. This is a pink color. Makes no sense to me, but then, I don't know. What it does is it just makes me think, oh, either I don't understand what's going on with this website, which is probably the case, or do these people know what they're doing? They must know what they're doing, for crying out loud. Now let me just bend these up. Everything they're doing is explained on informational pages where they explain what they're doing. So if you want, so I did read about the error curve, and I couldn't comprehend what they were saying. So the other thing about that chart, I might as well finish this off. The other thing about that chart, what did I do with it? There it is. Their prediction curve goes to 0. This is a depth model, by the way. They used depth numbers to predict it, and the reason you use depth numbers is because you can be fairly sure about those numbers. Not 100%, but reasonably sure, because countries track deaths very carefully. They have, coroners, they keep records, all that kind of stuff. So that's why this is based on death numbers. So this is the deaths. So their prediction goes to 0. This date out here is like June 10th or something out around here. And this is the American curve. Goes to 0. That's not going to 0. Now the people who are developing this, at least the lead guy, has been interviewed a number of times on CNN lately. So it's kind of come out of the backwoods into the hands of the American administration, and now it's rising up in front of the public. So the public become more and more aware about this website. If they aren't already, anybody who's been curious about this has probably found this website anyway, just like me. Oh, my poor cats. I'm going to finish this before I go and attend to them. So I'm talking about this. Another great website to check for data and information is Johns Hopkins University website, where they are tracking where they're tracking a lot of stuff daily. There's no prediction there, but there's a fair bit of tracking going on in the world, but not too much prediction, or at least not too much in public. It could be a lot of governments have private predictions of these things that they aren't sharing publicly. And why would they not share it publicly? Because they're so full of doubt that what they're looking at is actually true. I think that's the situation. It's hard to predict something that is surrounded by dynamics. And in this case, the way people are going to behave is very dynamic. So the results of their behavior, our behavior, my behavior, yours too, is affecting all these things, and we can't predict our behavior. Look what's going on in the United States. I don't think those who are in a position of expertise would have predicted that at this point people would be coming out. Okay, soldering iron. I want to get this guy to the test point. Peanut, just hold your horses, okay? It's wet outside anyway because it rained earlier this morning. So happy about my cats being out in the rain. So in Canada, yesterday we recorded, I'd have to check, maybe I'm going to be wrong in this. Certainly in the short term I'm right. The largest number of new infections yet. Things are not going well here in Canada. We're not getting it down. I don't think low enough where it can be managed yet. Which is the whole idea, right? We hide in our homes till the infection rate drops low enough that we think we can manage the situation and keep it under control. I don't think we're there yet. I think most of Canadians agree with me too. We all kind of see it the same way here, pretty much. So, but certain industries are starting to open up, outdoor industries. I mean, you know, just a few small things that really makes no sense to. I shouldn't say it makes no sense. It makes sense to get them going here. Let's get this going. Okay, have we got? Now there's another whole issue with doing this. I haven't been talking about doing these lights. I haven't been talking about, and that's the supply voltage. I think was 14 volts, and these lights don't need 14 volts. So I'm going to have to drop the 14 volts with a resistor. I have a plan for that. Okay, now I'm going to cable this up. Got enough cable? Yeah. And I'm going to bare off the ends here so we can hook up a supply and get a look at this right away and see if this has this worked. Hang on, Pina, almost ready. Okay, I keep extending what I'm going to do here before I let you out. Come on, off there. What holds these things on? That's good enough anyway. Good enough, good enough, good enough. Okay. Down you go. Did I do this in any way right? Okay. Okay, so the lights are way back from the hole in the metal plate. We will see what we get out of this now. Power supply. Oh, which one's positive? Which one's negative? Positive. Oh, what happened to my clip? The positive one is the yellow one. Man alive, these are almost shorted here. There. Okay, get back in there. Okay, in position. And positive goes, I can't remember, positive goes on the long wire. Positive goes on the long wire. Positive, the long wire is the blue wire, long lead. Lead, there we go, okay. Put this over here so it's looks a little better. What have I done? What has happened here? Let's cut a little bit of light out. Okay, now I'm going to have to reach right in front of the camera here. I didn't get this quite right. Up a little closer. Power on. Well, so what you see in the camera is pretty much what I see with my eye. It looks really quite similar. It's interesting, you know, when you look down at an angle like the camera is now, you tend to see the spots. But if you get down lower, let me drop my tripod here. Oh, that's a little too low. Don't want to go that low. It looks a little better. Let's douse the lights here. Let me close this. Now it's very dark in here now. You know what? That's not so bad. Now, what's it look like with my eyes? It looks better with my eyes than it does. So what I see is I see two hot spots, and the one in the middle isn't nearly as hot. And I think the reason for that is, if we look inside here, my lights, see how far back they are from the holes? And can you see the one in the middle is shining into a screw head that's blocking it a little bit. So I can fiddle around with a little more. Let's do this. Let's try this. The diffuser. What if I increase the diffusion? Okay, let's try it. Really doesn't make any difference at all, did it? Diffuser too close to the front to diffuse anything. We need it back further. What if I go right in front of the light here? That's worse, if anything. Now, what if I can shift the position of the light bulbs a little bit? Forward, for instance. So that's far forward as it goes, and I didn't see. I think it's better. I think it's better. So the deal is, mount this thing far forward and move the center light. Maybe not. Maybe not move it. It's really not that. It's really not that bad. It's really not that bad, even like that. I think I got it. I think that's it, at least. And now I don't have the brightness set. Oh, that's right. This light could be a lot brighter if I wanted it to be. Okay. Back up. I have to go deal with my cats now, but this is a good spot to stop for the moment. And go. Peanut. Sorry about that, I just kind of whacked the microphone. Peanut. Peanut. Where are you? He's waiting for me, and that's what he's doing. Okay, next step will be to finalize this whole arrangement. Resistor, dropping resistor, all that stuff. Okay, so there's a couple ways to figure out the size of the resistor that's going to be needed. The easiest way is to use a decade resistance box like this. And that's what I'm going to do. So I want to disconnect from the bench supply here, and then we're going to want to connect it to the I think I should probably get these should cut clear these two the original wires. I don't want them carrying power out into the radio there. Okay. So now through this green, or through this yellow tube, really it's just these two green speaker wires. The rest of it is nothing. I'll have to do something. Make sure these don't short in here. So I can hook up, I can put one of these right on here. Let me stick it right on the terminal. Okay, now the other one. Take the decade box lead, put it here. Okay, and the other one, put it on here. There we go. Now we want to start with a high resistance hit here. These are high. These are like 1 watt resistors inside here, so it can take a fair bit of abuse. 1,000 times 1,000 or times 1. So we'll start with times 1,000. So the resistances in this box are not exactly what you see on here. They're close. So this will be 5,000 ohms. 5,000 ohms. Now, is that in any way going to be not enough? Okay, so that's 10,000 ohms. 10,000 ohms. That's got to be okay. Now we want to be able to see this too while we're looking at it, because the whole idea is to adjust the decade resistor until I get the desired brightness on the lights. So we got to be looking at it. Swing this over here. Make sure the speaker leads aren't grounded or anything bad happening here. Make sure none of this is touching anything. Wow, that's close. So these two rings here. Wow. Short circuit waiting to happen there. But for the purpose of testing, I think it's okay. Okay. Now I got the decade box upside down. Okay, let's drop the lights a little bit in here. Get a good look at it. Okay. Well, now I've got to switch this on. Wait a minute, there's another step here. Have to plug it in. And again, it's operating with no speaker connected. It shouldn't really be a problem. Keep the volume down. What can it really matter? Let's get this out of here. Okay, switch is off. Plug is in. Power's on through the dim bulbs, just in case. 124. So as soon as I hit the switch here, you know what I'm going to turn the power off. I'm going to push this switch because I'm going to have my hands right in front of it here when I do it. Now I'm going to turn the power on remotely. We'll take a glance. If it's stupidly bright, then something's gone wrong here. Make sure there's no short circuit over here, especially against an adjacent terminal, because it could be high voltage terminals over here. Right ready to blow everything up. We're good to go. Okay. Power on. Okay, so what do we got happening? Can't even tell if this thing's working. Now, I'm going to start turning down the resistor here until the light shows up. And what we can do is we can look right in at the actual LEDs. So we'll see them as soon as they appear. Oh, they are glowing already a little wee bit. Okay, we'll look down on the resistor. Can you see them coming up? Yep. Okay, but they may look kind of bright in the camera, but they're certainly not here in the shot because the camera's very misleading. Where am I down to here on the resistor? We're at 47K. Oh, this was 10K times 10. This was 10 million when I started. So now I'm at 50,000. That's right. I'm at 50,000 ohms. That's looking pretty good now. but I don't think it's bright enough. It's nowhere near what it was. We're down to the bottom, so I'm going to go back up. We're at 15,000. Take it right back up to 10,000. And then switch this to 1. And here we go again. So the lights are getting close to their brightness. No, they aren't. I'm in a dark room here. Okay, let's put a little bit of light into it. What happens when we do that? Well, you can still see the light in here. That's pretty good. What if I shine a light right on the front, though? The front, still see the light. You can still see the light. So, two fairly bright here and quite dull in the middle. Now, let me just take a good look with my own eyes from a distance here. How would that look sitting on the shelf? Well, you can certainly tell it's on. That's one thing. I'm going to go brighter yet, and brighter yet. Now that's pretty good, I think. Yeah, I have an under the bench light here. That's unfortunately it's affecting things here. Okay, well, what it looks like in the camera is not all that important. It's really what it looks like to my eyes. I think I can go another shot brighter. How bright can you make these guys? Let's put the full lighting on in the room here, because looking at LEDs in the dark is very misleading. Oh, I think that's probably about as bright as they dare go. Now, I can just move this middle one a wee bit. No, I can't really. It's glued in pretty solid. I think we've done the job here. I think that's going to be it. Now, 220 ohms according to this. So 220 ohms, 14 volts. We could work out the current flow if we wanted to. Question is, should we go even brighter? So that's brighter yet. Do LEDs get warm? Don't think they probably do generate a touch of heat because there is a voltage drop and a current. I like it like that. So now we're at 100 on here, but what we're really at on here we don't know till we measure it. So let's do that next. So power off, power off, power off. What is the actual resistance we just used there? Okay, and we'll find out. Supposed to be 100 ohms, and it's 150 ohms is what it actually is. So you get a 150 ohm resistor, put it in here. We should be happy. That should be good. Okay. 150 ohm resistor. 150 ohm resistor. 150 or a little less. Could be 120. A little less, a little brighter. 120 would be brown, red, brown, wouldn't it? Might be a 120 right there. Quickly, bring back the meter. It's kind of a big resistor, but that's okay. So we just have to mount this. We're almost done here. We're Almost done. Okay, so I'm gonna mount this in here. I don't think it's too exciting to watch. We'll get it done here. Okay, so I saved the exciting part where the solder goes on. Here. Okay. There we go. Just bend that down a little bit. Now, what about this hanging wire here? This thing. This whole thing is gonna. Okay, pull out those wires. We'll leave the speaker wires in there for some reason. No good reason, just like that. Good. Get rid of these danger guys, and we're ready to test the lights. Let's see if I did this right, or if they will explode. Can you make LEDs explode? I think with enough voltage and power, you can make anything explode. Speaker's okay, everything's okay. Ready for a test. Douse the lights a bit. Okay, so full frontal interference light. What does it look like on here? Fantastic. Look at that. Take away in the dark room situation. Well, it's a little pulsy, but not bad. That's not bad. It has a look. It has a look. After all, it was built to have two of these, and I've added a duller third one in the middle. I think that's good. Now, there's a lot of light flying all over the place, so when we put this whole thing back together, there could be light leaks coming out that we might have to deal with. But for now, voila. There, voila. Good. Good show. Okay. Now, I carry on with the rest of my day. Thanks a lot for watching, and hope your day goes as well as mine is going to go. See ya.